Welcome, everyone. I am doing a simultaneous webinar and I'm trying Periscope for the first time. So hopefully, technically, everything will go well. I'm Tamara Lechner and I am a happiness expert. And one of the habits that I teach people to keep them happy, to increase their happiness, is being present. Now, what is being present? Good question. It's a little bit different than meditation. Being present is more like being mindful. A person who is present knows what they are doing at all times. They know why they are doing it, and they know how they feel about what they're doing. They know what's going on around them. So it's this heightened awareness of this moment. Why do we want to be present? Being present keeps us in the now. It keeps us here. It keeps us thinking about today rather than worrying about the future. And when we avoid worries, when we think about what's happening right now, we're actually able to function better. Our brain is working on one task rather than multitasking and having concern about something that may never happen. Also, when you're present, you're not thinking or bringing the past into the moment. So when you're being present, you are really aware of now. How do you start this? Many of us have spent our lives being really not present. I know for me personally and historically, I was so worried about how I looked to other people and what was going on around me and how I was impacted by what was going on around me that I wasn't noticing my feelings. I wasn't noticing how my interactions felt in my body. So I really had numbed myself to whatever was going on outside of me and that moment. So if you start by being present just with your breath and noticing that you're breathing, then you want to think about the physical sensations that are happening in your body. So sometimes your heart rate increases. You might have a tightening across your chest. Sometimes you feel your eyes softening. That can be associated with love. Sometimes when you have fight or flight happen and the fear response is triggered, you can have a tightness. So really physically noticing what's going on. So this is your intention. Your intention in being present is to set the stage for what is possible. Setting the stage for what's possible just means that you're open. So you're paying attention in an open and positive and optimistic way. So that's your intention. Second thing, attention, present moment awareness. 47% of the time, our mind is wandering. And that's not a bad thing. That's just the reality of being human. 90% of our thoughts are not original. So our mind is wandering places that it's already been. We're having thoughts that we've already thought. There's not a lot of new stuff going on. So when we calm it down, we're having 12 to 15,000 thoughts a day. And that's, again, who knows if that number is accurate. I've heard as high as 80,000 thoughts, but we're thinking all the time. We've got that inner dialogue going with ourselves as well as our conversation. So right now I'm speaking to you, but I'm also thinking about what I'm going to speak next. So this multitasking is happening. When you're present, you're paying attention to one thing. So right now I'm focusing really hard on teaching about being present. I'm trying not to notice that my dog is barking and that my screen is stuck and I can't change it to the next slide. So things like that could be zapping my attention. Instead, I've dropped them. It's not important that I change the screen. It's not important that I attend to the dog right now because this is where I'm putting my attention. So the third part of being present is your attitude. How do we pay attention when we're being present? We want to be open. We want to be attentive to whatever it is that we've decided to be present with. We want to be curious. We want to be kind. So we're thinking from a happy place, not a suspicious place. We want to be gentle. We want to trust our judgments. So when something comes up that tells you, oh, this is perfect for me, or this doesn't feel right, we want to accept that. We don't want to second guess it. We just want to allow that feeling. We want to be compassionate. And most of all, we want to accept whatever it is. So we have our intention, set the stage for what is possible. We have our attention focused on one thing, and we have our attitude of openness. William Cooper said, absence of occupation is not rest. A mind quite vacant is a mind distressed. And I think that just speaks to the fact that especially in this day and age, we have so many thoughts, great thoughts, big thoughts, that our mind is not vacant. Our mind is going at all times. So having these little pockets where we step outside that busyness and really think about, okay, what am I doing now? Why am I doing it? What do I want to accomplish by doing this? Really is so useful in helping to calm ourselves. Why do we want to do this? How does this make us happier? Good question. Benefits from being present include improved focus. So this means you can focus better at work, you can complete your tasks more quickly. So sometimes when tasks are arduous, this means you get them done more quickly. When there's something you love, it means that you have a better chance of excelling. Your working memory is stronger when you're being present. So you're going to be able to retrieve facts more easily. Your fluid intelligence is turned on, which means you make those connections more easily. Standardized test scores go up when you have practiced being present. One thing I like to do when judgments pop up when you're being present is ask myself, why did I give myself this experience? Quite often, that might be you're trying to learn a new skill and you've made a mistake, and then your internal banter starts to say, oh, you can't do that, you're no good, you're not strong enough, you didn't work hard enough, you didn't try. Instead of allowing that conversation to happen, I really encourage you to ask yourself, why did I give myself this experience? So you're still present on whatever it was. Maybe you were learning to ride a bike and you fell off. Well, now I know how to fall. I didn't kill myself. I'm getting back on. I'm one step closer to riding a bike successfully. As Ralph Waldo Emerson says, life is a journey, not a destination. When we get caught up in paying attention to where we're going instead of where we are, we lose the ability to find joy in the moment. And really, life is a series of moments of joy connected en route to a destination. So when we get there, it's great, but the joy is in the journey. Mark Twain says, I am old. I have known many troubles. Most of them have never happened. And that just goes to our ability as humans to worry. We can create the worst case scenario, and worrying is a zapper of presence. When your mind worries, it's asking itself what if questions. What if this happened? What if that happened? And of course, that's a trait of a really intelligent person. However, it's also taking you out of the present moment. So if you are someone who worries a lot, being present is even more important for you. Now, one way that you can start to work on being present is by practicing a little bit of meditation. And you might choose a guided meditation. You can find them online at YouTube. You can certainly find some on my website, and I'm going to see if I can get this screen to move so that you can see my website. There we go, ahamomentsforyou.com. All you want to do is take some time to follow your breath, to feel your body, to get in touch with that true self. And as you practice meditation, you become better at focusing and staying present. So it's kind of like flexing a muscle. That's why they call it a practice. The more you flex the muscle, the stronger it gets. The more time you spend focusing your attention on one specific thing, the better you get at doing that. And why do you want to do it? Again, because you start to have this amazing ability to be present in conversation, to be present at work, to be present when you're working out, even to be present when you're sleeping. Do you have trouble sleeping? Being present is, again, one of those practices that once you work on it, you're going to fall asleep more easily because your mind isn't going to be running through all the things you need to do the next day. Instead, you're going to be staying with what you need to do today. So my definition of being present is this: the awareness that arises out of paying attention in an open, kind, and discerning way. So let's just pick that apart a little bit. So it's an awareness that arises, and that sounds a little bit like it doesn't come from you. Actually, it does come from you. If it's not coming from you, where would it be coming from? There is this awareness that you open yourself to, and that might be to God, to the universe, whatever you think is out there. But suddenly you've paid attention and you have the ability to notice things that you weren't noticing before. Have you ever stared at one painting for a really long time and suddenly you're noticing different lines, different shading, maybe brush strokes that you've never seen before? This is the same concept. So you're just focusing all of your attention, all of your brain power. And boy, do we have a massive ability to notice things that we don't even have an awareness that we're noticing. However, the more time you spend doing this, the greater your awareness will be of the things you didn't think you were noticing. So we're paying attention in an open, and again, that's just about not judging, non-judgmental, kind, because we don't want to look at things and notice what's wrong with them. We want to look and notice what's right with them. And discerning way, discerning. So when I think of discerning, I like to think of it as choosing between two really great options. So it's not choosing between what's right for you and what's wrong for you. Discerning is being able to have two really great options and picking the one that's perfect for you. It's kind of like getting two job offers that both have excellent salaries, both have excellent benefits, they both have a great team, but you're able to pick the one that is right for you. So that's discerning. Present to me is the same as mindful. So you can take a mindful walk on the beach and notice your feet in the sand. You can mindfully breathe by noticing your inhalations, noticing your exhalations. You can eat in a mindful way by doing it slowly and focusing on what the taste of the food is like. Any activity that you can think of, you can make it more mindful just by that focus, that awareness. It's different than meditating. However, by practicing meditation, you will increase your ability to be present. Winston Churchill said, "It is a mistake to look too far ahead. The chain of destiny can only be grasped one link at a time." And I think that's a really important concept, that when we start thinking about the future, that's when worry bubbles up. That's when we start to have fear. If you can focus just on this moment, and even if something really bad is happening in your life right now, think about this exact second. Right now, are you okay? And if you are, that's great. And you are, because you're here and you're listening and you're able to ask yourself that question. When I work with people who are in severe pain for long periods of time, and they will say to me, "I don't think I can handle any more than this," my question to them is always, "Okay, but right now, are you okay?" And right now they are okay, because if they weren't okay, they wouldn't be available and focused and asking the question. It's the worry that it's going to get worse. It's the worry that they can't handle it for much longer. Right now, you are okay. So being present, again, we have our intention, we have our attention, and we have our attitude. When I meditate on being present, I like to use the mantra, which is kind of a focusing set of words, Sampriya Hum. And what I do is I just close my eyes, I breathe in and out, and I say to myself, Sampriya hum. Sampriya hum. And this is kind of a centering meditation that means I am complete contentment. And really, that is what being present is all about. So, starting to practice being present is noticing what you're doing, why you're doing it, what's going on around you, and how you're feeling about whatever it is you are doing. It will reduce anxiety, it will reduce pain, it will reduce depression, it will increase your pro-social behavior. You'll feel better with others. It will increase your resilience. You won't be so worried about failure, about what ifs, and you will be more resilient. It will increase your physical, your emotional, and your mental well-being, which all contribute to your happiness, which is really what I talk about. For me, it all comes back to happiness. So I hope you've enjoyed this little 15-minute blurb about being present. And I would love for you to subscribe to my newsletter. So again, I would invite you to go to ahamomentsforyou.com. I have a monthly newsletter that will talk about concepts like being present. I have 6 more happy habits: purpose, connection, authenticity, letting go, being present, being playful, and being grateful. I hope that you will join me for webinars on these other happy habits. I'm so grateful that you joined me today to talk about being present. And I hope that when I finish speaking, you'll take a moment and just sit and notice how you're feeling. Feel gratitude that you gave yourself this little moment to learn something new or to reinforce something that you always knew. Thank you for joining me. I am your happiness expert. Your happiness is my business. Have a great and beautiful day.